legal coaching. Legalcoach.ca is the URL.
Legalcoach.ca. We're going to be talking today about separation and divorce and what sort of resources are available to those who are currently in a relationship who want to separate from their partner and perhaps have children and want to figure out childcare resources and how to go about that during the time when right now the courts are closed. So we want to know how we can possibly get them going. So the first thing is, first of all, what kind of services do you provide exactly?
Okay, so what my firm provides is a unique kind of service. It's I call it legal coaching. Effectively, they're legal services, but you're parceling off. You're only buying what you need and not buying what you don't need. So we don't go in and you have to compare us to traditional representation. And traditional legal representation, you go to a lawyer, you give them $2,500 or $5,000, and they take your case and they take care of it for you from start to finish. They do everything. You provide them with information, but effectively they take care of stuff. With us, what you do is you pay a fee for our particular service, and we give you the advice or the guidance on how you're going to complete your task on your own. So with us, you end up spending probably about a third of what you would spend if you went to a traditional lawyer.
So it's a la carte.
It's a la carte, exactly. You still get that feeling of being supported, and like, so people often are nervous and kind of worried about coming to see us because they're like, well, I'm too nervous to represent myself. But at the end of the day, when they look at their budget, they don't really have the option to hire a full representation lawyer. And we do, that's what we do. We make sure that you feel supported and empowered and confident when you're going through your matter on your own. And we make sure that like you're getting, a result similar to what you would have if you had a full representation lawyer, just with a little bit more elbow grease on your part. And you still get good support from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today is because people going through this experience right now, they're obviously in stress with their husband or partner. Everybody's under financial stress. And I think that can kind of exacerbate any issues that people have. I'm just wondering, how are families handling COVID-19, and are you experiencing an uptick in people calling you or not? Like, to me, you're the what's the word? Affordable alternative.
Affordable option. Yeah. I think that the people where we're seeing an increase of phone calls, because I've been speaking with my colleagues, where we see the increase in phone calls are the people who are accessing the free resources. So there are free resources in the community through Family Law Line or Family Justice Access Center, and that is free legal help, but you have to financially qualify. So those are people who have income under a certain level. And so speaking with my colleagues, they're getting a huge amount of phone calls through their service, all asking the same questions about how do I not send my children back to their other parent? Effectively, like there's an issue with social distancing, they're not doing the things properly, or it's on the other hand, I'm not getting my child from my co-parent because whatever. So I think anybody who is in a position where they're actually going to be spending money on their legal services, they're finding that their current clients are active, but they're not getting a whole lot of new phone calls right now. And my assessment of that situation is that people are nervous about their finances, and they're holding on to their money, and they're feeling like right now is probably not the time to move forward with a separation because they don't want to spend that extra money. And I think, much like we're only a few weeks into this, really, I think the assessment from the outset was, well, why don't I just wait till this is done? When things settle down, then we'll go forward, right?
So that brings me to my question. Next question is, should people who are considering separation go through with it because, there's a balance of cost versus mental health? Yeah.
Everybody's going to have to do their own analysis and balancing, but I have seen, firsthand what being in a bad relationship can do to your mental health. And it affects your mental health, it affects your physical health eventually. It will affect you financially. and nothing, and staying in a relationship, trying to maintain the status quo does not make anything better. It generally, things get worse and worse and worse and worse. Whereas maybe if you had separated a bit earlier, when you had better finances or better mental health, you would have, yeah, you would have been able to cope a little bit better and get onto that path of recovery a little sooner. So it's, you know, I don't think that waiting it out in a bad relationship is ever the answer. I think that there's always steps you can take once you end the relationship, steps you can take to kind of improve your situation and improve your, even your outlook on life. So the sooner you can get to that part, provided the relationship is over, you know, it's not going anywhere. You're just biding your time.
Yeah.
Like, wait until that relationship is over in your mind. You're not going back to it. I'm not encouraging people to separate or divorce. I'm talking to those people who have already made that decision. They're emotionally ready to do it. They shouldn't be just sitting it out for better times down the road, because we don't know how long this is going to last. So,
okay. Well,
yeah.
So then that brings me to my next question, which is, if the court is closed, do they need to go to the court in order to separate, or can they go through someone like you? Like, at what point do people go to court anyway?
Yeah, so I'd say about 95% of all cases probably settle outside of court, right? So, and there are a large percentage of those that never need to even consider filing anything or going anywhere near a courthouse. Court is for those more difficult situations where it's difficult to negotiate or mediate. So this is actually, I mean, you could think about it as an opportunity to really get down to brass tacks with your spouse, your ex-spouse, and say, look, we don't have access to the court, so let's just like cut through all the silliness and let's really just negotiate, use the tools that we have. So we can negotiate, we can use lawyers, we can do it on our own, we can go to a mediator. There are paid and free services available for mediation, and we can have everything drawn up in a separation agreement. The beauty of it is that the two people who matter the most in making those decisions are the ones making the decisions. It's not a judge who doesn't know you or your family making decisions for you. So it's an opportunity to really just focus on what matters, I think.
At the end of the day, I think you just have to put it's the kids, your mental health and your kids' well-being.
You know, and that's the interesting thing. People often think, well, I got to stay together for the kids. And it's like, you're not doing the kids any favors. If you're unhappy and your spouse is unhappy, the kids know. They know. And they pick up on it, and they're living on, they're walking on eggshells, trying to keep both parents happy and navigate a difficult home life often. So I often find people tell themselves they're doing it for the kids, but perhaps they're just a bit scared about pulling the trigger, is what it is.
Okay, so if somebody wants to divorce right now, because obviously a lot of people are under financial strain, that's one of the stressors, how can they afford it? Like, what are the costs and how can they afford it?
Yeah, so again, there are free legal resources for people who are under a certain income level. So I'm not sure, it depends on how many children you have and so on and so forth, but there are free resources. If you can afford paid resources, I strongly recommend you pay for the resources. You're going to get a much better product at the end of the day. Everything's going to be a little bit easier if you can afford to pay for it. You can go all the way with full representation. You're looking at least a $5,000 to $10,000 investment. Or you can use a service like mine, which is legal coaching or unbundled services is what we're providing. And what you're going to get is quality legal help, but you're going to have to put in a little bit more effort to kind of connect the dots.
And you might have to understand the process a little more, but you'll guide them through that.
Yeah, you don't need to know before you come to see us how to do anything. You don't need to know anything. All you need to know is the relationship's over. I know what my budget is for legal fees, roughly. And now you tell me what I need to know. And so I will guide you and I'll give you options. That's something we provide through our service, is like everybody will have a different appetite for how much they want to work and how much support they want. So often, other than the services that are on our website, all our fees are listed there. Other than that, if we're doing a package for you, we'll give you a low, medium, and a high quote, and you can decide what it is that you want and what's a good fit for you.
Okay, so can we just go over again what the resources are that are available? So there's you at legalcoach.ca, and then what else?
Okay, so there is, if you're looking to hire a mediator, which is a good way to negotiate, having and using the services of someone who knows what you've got to discuss and what the decisions you need to make, you can go to Mediate BC, and you can find a family law mediator there. You can either hire lawyers to attend mediation with you, or you can attend just you and your spouse. And mediators are many of them are mediating by distance right now, so that's great. Then there's if you just need a little bit of like free legal advice, there's and you're under the threshold, you can go to Family Law Line, or
what is the threshold? Do you know off top?
I think for Family Law Line and the Family Justice Access Center, getting help there, you're probably looking in the 40,000 annual income, around 40,000 ish, around there or below. But don't quote me on that. I haven't. They have very complicated ways of determining your eligibility. So if you're not sure and you think that it's hard to make ends meet, then you may as well call and see if you qualify.
Okay.
There's a lot of online resources. So there's a Family Resolution Center, which is online free mediation. But like I said, there's a reason people pay for mediators. A private mediator knows what they're talking about. They're going to get you a good result in a very efficient way.
Right.
So if you can afford it, then I would strongly recommend leveling up, I guess.
Right.
We'll get an agreement out of them at the end of the day that you can rely on.
Yeah. Lori Frank is a family mediator, I believe.
Lori Frank, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other e-women. I can't think of any other e-women who are mediators off the top of my head. Okay.
So how do they get in touch with you?
They can email me, info@legalcoach.ca. They can, Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. I want to say, I think, Jane, there's one other service that I'm offering for free, which is Thursdays from 12 to 1.
Okay,
an information session by Zoom. So if you message me on Facebook Messenger, Instagram, or info@legalcoach.ca, I will send you a link to our Zoom call. And this week we're going to be talking about child support in depth. So I'm providing information, not legal advice, but just everything you need to know from A to Z on child support. And all you need to do is commit an hour of your time if you want to sit and listen.
Okay. All right. Thursday, 12 to 1, message Laurel through Instagram, Facebook Messenger, or you can email her. And don't forget.
Just send me your email address. I'll send you the link. Okay.
And can they can just get on, so they can be I've got an extra HTTPS on there, but if they get on there, they can be anonymous too, right? Because they don't have to have the video on.
They don't have to have the video on. I think you'll want to check. I'm not sure with Zoom. I think if you just change your profile name to something like iPhone or computer, I'm not going to make you talk. Don't put your video on. But if you want to be part of it and have your video on and chat, you can ask questions, and that's also welcomed.
Yeah, no judgment zone too, right?
No judgment zone, exactly.
Okay, so I had an interesting, I'll just share this with you. Let me just, talking about what was going on with the market today.
Yeah, I like to talk to you, Jane. I want to know what's happening. Who's buying, who's selling, what's happening?
Okay, let me know if you can't hear me. I can see you, so just let's see.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna hide.
Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, now I'm hiding you. Okay, but I can hear you. Okay, so what's happening with the market is today, it was interesting. I was talking to a client who's just separated from her husband and who was looking for a place. We looked in Colwood and Langford, and basically we looked everything under 500,000. So I'm just going to, let's see, I'll be right there. So when I was looking in the market, I found I did current and pending, and I was looking at single family condos and townhouses in Langford and Colwood. For homes itself, I found 501 matches. But when I was searching through the results, what I found was there weren't the criteria was 500,000 and less. So for a family, we're going to want 2 bedrooms plus, and for this we did 500,000 and less, and then the results. And what we found was there were 108 results. Of those, if we look at what's current on the market, sorry, it should be sorting. There's a few properties that are available on Jacqueline. This property on Jacqueline is right near Ruth King Elementary. Very nice building, 815 square feet. It's got a balcony, so it's 923 overall. And then these ones on Goldstream allow you a lot of access to the subway to the bus, and as well as shopping and the malls, and so that one was available on Goldstream. But we're seeing of the properties, 55 properties have come pending, and there are still some options available. These ones on Whirlaway are overlooking the highway, so they can be a bit loud, and that's probably why they're still on the market and a little bit lower in price. And then pardon? So that means they've sold, and if I'm looking at list to sale price, this is the original price and then what it went for. There are a few deals out there. So this one at 354 sold for 315. But basically they're going for asking price. It depends on when they did sell. Let me just look here. So these ones on Whirlaway that are showing pending, they actually haven't completed yet. And I could tell that because they haven't completed, meaning the construction hasn't completed. They're all new construction because they were bought in November, and the market started to pick up January, February, a little bit of the end of last year. We were having a gangbuster year, and then beginning of March, it's really slowed down. So I've actually, go ahead. Yeah, I can see over here on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if you can see mine, but when I look at, there was one in April on Jackson Road, 2 in April. People are holding off. That being said, I'm just gonna X out of here. What I am finding though is that if something comes on the market and it's well priced, it is going really quick.
Okay, 'cause there's not a whole lot out there that's really desirable.
Yeah, we're down about 1,000 listings, so the market's really low. We're down to where we were a couple of years ago.
So that's, I guess, a hitch for people who might be wanting to separate is like if they're desperate to get out of the house, then they're thinking, okay, well, where am I going to go? Do you deal in rentals at all, Jane, or just purchases and sales?
No, I'm not licensed for rentals, but I do know a few people who do focus on rentals. And I would say the process, so you have to have your separation agreement in place before you can purchase a home anyway. And
Mm,
so they would need to talk to somebody like you first. And then usually what happens is I get somebody who says, I want to separate. I'll introduce them to somebody like you. Then they'll come back to me and we'll help them find a place to live at that point. But they have to know. So the separation agreement tells them what the cash flow is going to be every
yeah,
month.
of course. And so I guess the one thing I would want to add is if people are thinking about separating, it might be if you need to get out of a house because there's quarantining going on and you just cannot be within those four walls, maybe just because you don't like the person very much and it's or maybe it's becoming a toxic situation. There could be a lot of mental or emotional abuse, which is, the dark side of things. Or, if it becomes unsafe, then it doesn't matter. You just need to get out. And what that means is finding a place to rent or a family member or someone that you can stay with, which I know is difficult and tricky at this time.
Yeah.
It's a non-starter to stay in an unsafe situation, in my opinion, I think.
Well, what I found is over the years, I just have relationships with people who work in the rental industry. So if somebody is looking for a rental, I can usually connect them with somebody. Sometimes I have clients who are renting, but I'm not licensed to negotiate anything on people's behalf. But I can introduce them to somebody and say, this person wants to rent. I would say the biggest factor is usually not the kids, it's pets. So cats and dogs are hard for people to find rentals in.
That's true.
And just so people are like moving companies are working, real estate lawyers are working, and notary publics are working, and they just have different protocols in place and how they're signing documents now. So
it's possible to get business done if need be.
Yeah. And what I say to people is we cannot take you out unless you're 100% qualified. We have a showing protocol, which I can share with people. So you have to be qualified. You have to have that separation agreement in place. When we go out, we sanitize our hands, wear slip-on shoes. I'm the only one touching doors, and then I sanitize when we come back out. And I'm finding I can 90% of the time screen people out for one reason or another. Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting because, you would have before just people who are browsing or considering looky-loos, I would imagine. So that must make your business a bit more efficient.
Well, it doesn't mean the conversations aren't happening. So we're getting people prepared. I had 2 today. And, as I said before, I have my COVID-19 +1 list. So that's like the day that there's going to be pent up demand, and there's going to be people who are going to be listing, and there's going to be people who want to buy, and they're going to want to move ASAP. And so we're just getting all of our systems and processes refined and in place. There is a document people have to sign, by the way, if they want to go and view a house too.
Okay.
Through us.
No. So there are some additional measures that might not have been in place before COVID-19 in order to even be in the market to buy and sell or buy. Sorry.
Yeah. And one thing that we're adding as a board, which I think is really great, our tech team has been awesome, is we've added virtual tours. So some realtors, I'm going to be doing one this weekend. So they go to the property, we set up a Zoom link. It is in openhousevictoria.ca. So you can go online and see if there's an open house. You can jump onto the Zoom call and you can interact with the agent who can show you virtually around the property. So if you have any questions like, hey, is that laminate or is that real wood?
Yeah.
They could be answered. And also, probably, I would say we've jumped ahead 5 or 10 years on technology. It's stuff that my group and I were doing before anyway. So we're doing video tours and walkthroughs and talks about the neighborhood. And if you're interested in a neighborhood that you're not familiar with, you can always check out some of our videos on Vancouver Island Time.
Great.
So,
That is, one of the positives coming out of COVID-19 is that advancement and use of technology.
yeah, yeah. And I think, the reason why Zoom and this Be Live program were so popular is because we still need to see other people's faces.
You
And
do.
that brings us a lot of happiness.
It sure does. Well, thank you, Jane. It's great talking to you always, and I love hearing about what's happening in the market, so I can share that with my clients.
Okay, so shall we meet next week, Tuesday, same time?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, so once again, if you want information about COVID-19 separation or even post-COVID-19 separation, co-parenting, or any sort of documentation around habitation, you want to talk to Laurel Dietz at Legal Coach, right?
Legalcoach.ca. Yeah,
Legal
that's our website. Check that out. Check out our website, legalcoach.ca.
Okay, we're going to be updating you every Tuesday as things change. If you have questions, be prepared. Next Tuesday, you can message Laurel or me your questions, and we'll answer them online, because I'm sure if you have a question, somebody else has a question as well. And if you want more information about what's happening in the market, just give me a call. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group. Again, you can message me, or you can give me a call, 250-744-0775. Everybody take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.